one YouTube comment balance for every Overwatch hero, including Juno. We're not going to be able to play Juno because Juno's not in the game right now. So
you guys have terrible ideas. So in this video, I read through a bunch of comments and made a change for every single hero based on your guys' YouTube comments. Most of these are from the last 3 videos, but some of them I took from videos from a long time ago. So hopefully you're in there, and if you want to be a part of future videos,
chat.
The next one I'm thinking...
I want... See, this is what I was talking about, chat. If I could do a collab with this person and take my chat, my Twitch chat, and also do another one for YouTube chat, that would be really cool. I would do that, but I'm pretty sure you guys would fuck this game up.
Thinking about doing is making each Overwatch
harder than the devs, and that's hard.
Hero a different role. So for example, making Tracer a support by blinking through them. That might be foreshadowing, by the way. Comment that idea down below and try and do ones that are kind of weird, you know? Don't do something like Mei as a tank because I'm gonna already do that. However, like, subscribe, whatever. If you've watched my videos, you're probably already subscribed. But let's move on to the first change, which is Ana. For Ana, make it so there's a 25% chance of supports and DPS overdosing and dying. This one's pretty self-explanatory. When you sleep dart someone, there's a 25% chance that they're just gonna instantly die if they are not a tank. I only pulled this off once while...
Oh shit, that's interesting! Overdosing and dying, 25% chance. You have a 1 in 4, chat.
Testing, but I mean, hey, it does work. For Ashe, when Ashe melees, she knocks them into the air like Bob. This one's not too complicated, it did exactly what it says. It is kind of weird implementing a melee change right after doing the melee video. However, this was unique enough and it kind of fit her character since Bob does it. So I decided to add it anyways since you can alley-oop your own shots, kind of. After that is Baptiste.
Okay.
For Baptiste, I was told to make the Oz kit from like Borderlands or something, I'm not really sure still. And the version I made it so oxygen will leak over time, and the way to get oxygen back is by going under a building, aka kind of simulating like being inside. And then when your oxygen is more full, you can do double jumps, you can do a ground pound. And Shab, the person who suggested this, actually apparently made their own version of this since my version was kind of mid. So I'm not sure which one's going to be in the game mode yet. But what I'm thinking about doing is leaving mine in the game mode and then having theirs on screen right now for if you want to try their version. Hopefully if you know what this is, you'll enjoy it. Please rework Bastion. Nerf the damage on Assault a little bit.
That's cool. You could keep jumping, but as soon as you run out of oxygen, you start taking damage. I don't know if I like that, chat.
Give it ammo. Remove or dramatic.
Wait, what was it? What was Bastion?
Rework Bastion. Nerf the damage on Assault a little bit. Give it ammo. Remove or dramatically reduce the cooldown. Give him a self-repair while in Assault. And keep the grenade for recon. Now he can be threatening whenever he wants, sustain a little bit better, and keep mobility when he needs it. And then I pretty much did exactly what the comment said. The only thing
that ammo's
thing I will say is that the healing and the shooting ammo are the same type of ammo. And then you'll have a cooldown before the bar comes back. And you might have noticed that there's another comment under that. And I decided to add it in there just because I almost did that. I thought it was a really cool idea, making it kind of like those Null Titan bosses from the PvE. But unfortunately, some of the maps are so enclosed that I was a little bit worried that you'd get stuck as Bastion. So I decided not to do that and did the one above it. To give you a quick idea on how strong the Bastion rework is, in Assault form, you'll do 80% damage, so a pretty decent decrease. The ammo will make it so you only shoot about 2.5 clips if I had to guess. However, being able to heal in Assault form is just so powerful.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know, man. I just don't like Bastion going into that mode and then having to reload. That's the only weird thing for me, to be honest with you.
Taking damage resistance. And
so far, I love Diana.
On top of that, you can do it every about 6 seconds, I think I put the cooldown as. So I saw some people playing Bastion, and I'm sure he's very fun. Next up is Brigitte. Make it so her whip shot does a 4-second stun. That is a bit ridiculous. And you want to know what they put as the downside? A 10-second cooldown. You have a 4-second stun, better than Reinhardt's ultimate on a 10-second cooldown. Apparently because they have the kink and wants them...
Yo, what is YouTube do? Yo, I don't know, man.
Anyways, so I actually left it exactly like this during testing, and I got so mad at it because, of course, I had the Brig main on the enemy team every single time, and even when I said, hey, maybe try other heroes so we can test the changes to find out the bugs, nope, they just played Brig. So I decided to do a dramatic nerf. When you bonk someone with Brigitte stun, your melee is just completely disabled. You cannot do damage during that time except for shield bash. So if you're gonna stun someone for 4 seconds, you cannot follow up on it. Just a warning, because this one is annoying and I don't like it. 4-second stun on a 10-second cooldown should never happen.
That's balanced. It's really good that he did that change. You shouldn't be able to stun someone for 4 seconds and then beat the shit out of them. I like that you can't hit. You can communicate to your team and tell them to come over to start shooting, but you can't. I like that.
Instead of Cassidy High Noon, it's High Goon, and he violently splooges on everyone in the map, even if he doesn't have line of sight. Thank you, Nocolicious. So just as it said, when you High Noon, you will splooge on everyone and make them white. Now you might notice that everyone dies on the map and then respawns, and that's simply because outlines don't work. This is the best way to counteract that. And I kind of like it. It's like a weird side effect, because just having people be white outlined isn't really that cool, but having everyone dying and resurrected, now that's cool. They also have or Doomfist make it so his slam
What? That's interesting. High Goon. Okay.
People like Reinhardt, and or when Doom punches a wall and turns quick enough, he can bounce off in any direction. I'm sure I didn't do this exactly how they wanted, but when you slam, anyone in a 2-meter radius around you will be constantly teleported to you, so it's kind of like bringing them or kidnapping them. However, the main one that I found really fun is that when you punch the wall and you held down your primary button, you will bounce off, and it just feels really cool.
Okay, that's
if you
actually
don't look
pretty
directly
cool.
at the wall, it won't work. But if you do look directly at the wall and you hold down primary fire while you're punching into it, it will bounce you backwards. And it was just really fun doing it. I don't even know what the practicality is for it. It's just really addicting and feels really smooth. Next up from Squid, D.Va can push people with her defense matrix. And this time, I didn't make it go through the entire map like it did with that Orisa fan change in the realistic video. Side note, that change was not very...
D.Va can push people? Okay, there's some characters that I really want to play. I want to play D.Va, I want to play Cassidy, and I want to play Ana. I'm wanting to play this.
But with this one, if you put your defense matrix in the general area of someone, you'll push them back. I had someone try and push me off the map. They didn't succeed, but it sure was, I guess, threatening. Next up is Echo. As in Echo main, camo is fire. Now this one is not a change. This was actually talking about the camo skin that Echo has. And if you slide this comment to the right, you might notice that this is from the worst skins for every Overwatch hero, voted by you guys. I saw Echo main and camo, so I made it so Echo can now go invisible when they press interact, I'm pretty sure. And this will put the flight on cooldown. Pretty much every comment revolving around Echo is something about duplicating someone, so this time, I decided to change it up and put a comment out of context and make her go invisible. If you guys are going to suggest a change for Echo, please do not suggest turning into another hero. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm already 13 minutes into the recordings and I want to go to bed. But first, I gotta mention that I gave Genji
Echo is
a
actually
backpack
pretty
that
cool.
stores stuff when he deflects. So when you deflect, you will light on fire and any damage to you will get absorbed. And then when you press interact, you'll launch a projectile out and probably insta-kill people depending how much you deflect. People normally pick up on this because there's a small message that says you have absorbed blah 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 damage. The more you play Genji, typically the less effective this is, but getting an insta-kill out of nowhere is pretty funny. Next up is Hanzo, and I actually had 2 comments that kind of replied the same thing. Make it so Hanzo shoots dragons in every direction, and make it so Hanzo shot out 2 arrows rather than 1. I'm more focused on the second comment where when you shoot a dragon with his ultimate, he will shoot out another dragon behind him. This isn't anything super impressive, but it did catch some people off guard. Next up is the Yari. When you throw your pylon, it will explode on impact, and the one problem with this is that you can't really detect where the pylon goes. At least I don't know how to. So an orb just goes with it. This is very similar to the now your frisbee comes with a free ball. So I made it where when you throw Baptiste's lamp, it will throw an orb out with it and it will damage. It's pretty much the exact same thing. Not sure what the application would be, but I don't get very many Iari suggestions, so make sure you suggest more, I guess. For Junker Queen, with her knife, she should only be able to backstab when she throws her knife. So when you throw your knife and you backstab someone, it will insta-kill them.
Okay,
there's only
that
one
is cool.
small little
I like the
problem, and that's
backstab.
because her secondary fire apparently counts for her melee. so you can't really tell the difference between if the knife was thrown or not. So Junker Queen can backstab when she throws the knife, and she can unfortunately also backstab when she melees normally, which
It's like the
ended up
spy
being
from
really fun
TF2.
though.
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
we mixed up the backstab this time. We need to stop adding backstabs to stuff. Maybe next time we'll do front stabs. Make Junkrat be able to hit you with his peg leg for 100 damage. This is only if you're falling a significant amount. So if you do a regular jump, it will not work. But if you jump from something and melee someone, it should still work. Next up, Juno shouldn't have healing drop off.
That's a weird one for Junkrat, I feel like. I feel like they could have made something a lot better for Junkrat.
There's only one problem. I can't really show this because Juno is still locked. But this is literally like the only comment I have about Juno. So I put it in a theoretical code, and when Juno comes back, I guess you could turn it on and set it from Mercy to Juno. So have fun with the Juno change that you can't actually play. Missed opportunity for Kiriko. Could have been like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Get over here! But you can't animate it, sadly. This comment was actually from the melee change video.
Wait, what
and luckily
the hell?
for them, I made it so when you press interact, a little projectile will shoot out. If you hit someone with that projectile, it will attach a beam to them, and it will pull them to you. This change kind of sucks. It's not really useful on Kiriko to have a hook, especially because it puts an ability on cooldown. But I mean, you could theoretically get a kill with this or kidnap someone. Next video, Lifeweaver has
weird.
pheromones. In particular, I made it so when you heal someone, a random effect will happen. This can be stuff like damaging, healing, hacking them, knocking them on the ground repeatedly. This happened to me, by the way. And a couple other things. Make Lucio boop a 10-second cooldown
that's
to
a
give
pretty
an
cool
infinite
one.
knockback.
I like that.
And also, Lucio melee can supercharge boop or give Lucio a speed boost. So I did exactly these two changes.
my
When you boop
God,
as
I wanna play
Lucio,
Lucio.
you'll do the max knockback I can give it, but it goes on a 10-second cooldown because apparently 10-second cooldowns are very balanced. I've noticed that the overpowered changes are on 10-second cooldowns, which is kind of funny.
Oh
and then
my
Lucio
God.
melee can be supercharged. This is literally exactly like the Zenyatta boop that I did in the melee change. However, there's one little difference. You get a small speed boost after it. I think I just did an apply impulse, so when you punch someone, you'll go very slightly in their direction. It's not really helpful, but hey, it's at least very slightly different. Make Maga a long-range tank. For Maga, the farther away you are, the more damage you do. You can absolutely melt people from the longest distance. But once anyone gets close to you,
I'm
you're
gonna be
pretty
honest
much
with you,
just
Maga did
screwed.
not
Pretty
need
much every
this.
time I do these game modes, Maga
did not
somehow
need
becomes
this.
the best tank. So this time, he is probably the worst. However, it is pretty fun sniping people out of nowhere. Make Mei like Frozone. For everyone who wants me to make it so when you spray the ground and you go
I think that
faster,
was- someone-
here
someone-
you go.
someone-
We're having a
someone
little
did
bit of
that.
fan service in this video. The reason I never did this one is simply because other people have done it before, and I think other people have done it better than me. If you watch the gameplay occasionally, I'll stop out of nowhere, and I don't know why. However, you guys finally have your perfect Mei change. Make it so when you resurrect someone as Mercy, you control them for 15 seconds. I pretty much did exactly that. When
What? What? No, I'm sorry, but I do not want a Mercy player doing that. What the hell?
resurrect someone, you will suddenly go to their point of view, and you can control their primary fire, secondary fire, ability 1, ability 2, and their jumping. I decided not to prohibit their movement, simply because I did this once in an earlier change, and it ended up being really, really annoying. Plus, people will just
What
control you
the
off the map pretty bad. So the person you're controlling still has complete control over their character. However, you can mess with them by primary firing, secondary firing, using your abilities.
Oh my God! When you res someone, you could just f with the chat. I swear to God. When we try this later, if you guys click Mercy, you're banned from my chat and you're never playing in content again.
This isn't really a buff per se. I mean, the best thing that you can get out of it is when you resurrect someone in a risky spot, you're invulnerable for 10 seconds or 15 seconds. So that's probably what this should be used for. However, I guess you can optionally press buttons for them, I guess. I don't know how that's helpful. So have fun messing with your teammates, I guess. Also, theoretically, because of how I coded this, you could control an enemy if they're even closer to you than the target. So theoretically, if you resurrect someone next to an enemy, you could control them. I don't know if it works, but if it does work, I guess it has a really good use then. For Mora, make it so she takes damage all the time, or in the other person's case, make it so she takes constant damage. I mean, I did exactly that. However, there is actually one little interesting thing I added. The person who you're taking damage from is the closest person to you, including your teammates. So what you can do is you can actually grind ultimate charge by taking damage from them and then healing yourself. So they're getting ult charge for damaging you, while you're getting ult charge for healing from them. It's a little interesting gimmick, and I tried doing this with the Yari a while ago, and it did not work super well. Hopefully this time it works, and it keeps with the comment by making it so Mora takes constant damage all the time. Once Orisa is picked, she dies. However, once you're dead, you will spectate the closest enemy to you. This basically gives you a free camera on the enemy. Also, on top of this, after you respawn, you will not die again, so don't worry. You just have a 10-second cooldown before you can play Orisa, I guess. And on top of that, during that time, you can see what the enemy's doing.
Bro, what the hell? Wait, if you pick Orisa, you just instantly die. There's no way, chat. I need to check that. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun.
Random crits. This game mode is gonna suck playing. When Pharah shoots a rocket, that rocket has a 1 in 16 chance of critting. Now you might notice, hey, 1 in 16 is different than 1 in 25 like in Team Fortress 2 or whatever the rate is. That's because this time I used Pokemon crits. In Team Fortress 2, which is what I used earlier,
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's another good change. I loved sometimes the random crits in TF2 were fucking hard,
YouTube
man.
History.
It went hard.
3 times damage, which absolutely breaks many characters.
Okay, 3 times
Pokemon,
damage is a little
it's
insane.
only 1.5 times as of Generation 9. So Pharah rockets can only do, I think, 180 damage at max instead of what would be 360, which would have been overpowered. So maybe you'll occasionally two-shot people. But I mean, random crits are random crits. Good luck with that. Give Ramatra an ability where when you press interact, it will generate a number between 1 and 20, and that's how many pieces of cheese come out of you. It then homes in on people. So you could do 20 pieces of cheese directly into somebody's face, or just have one and have it completely miss and it sucks. Ratmatra is gonna dominate, hopefully. I actually don't know how good this is. Just have fun playing Ratmatra, because he can shoot cheese at people. Imagine if Reaper could fly around and...
What the f***? Okay.
Wraith form like they do in the first trailer. This one I actually didn't think I'd be able to really visualize.
Wait,
and then
what
I made
does
it
Reaper
basically
get?
perfectly. It looks
Oh my god, that is actually
very
cool.
good. It's literally just Wraith form, but you have an impulse forward and you
Oh,
play an
that is
effect while
sick.
being invisible. It ended up looking very close to the Wraith form in the cinematic, or at least it's something very cool looking. And I really like this change. Now you might notice I didn't highlight this change, and that's because I'm going to also do the Widow change from this comment. But we'll talk about that later since I like going in alphabetical order. Give Ryan a shield bash with stun. I think when you press interact with your shield up, you will stun people. This is not exactly like Brig, it's just a radius around you. I'm not gonna lie, I got lazy with this change. However, this puts charge on cooldown because I don't want you guys abusing it. Keep in mind, I made this after the Brig change, so I knew there was gonna be some overpowered stuff in here. So this one I tried to tune down a little bit. I'm a little worried I tuned it down a little bit too much because I barely used it. But you can shield bash with Reinhardt now, so have fun with that. For Roadhog, he is a Redditor and he is stinky. So within a radius of him is poison damage. However, since his vape is kind of like a radiation cleanser, I made it so if your ability resource is not full, that means that you somehow cleaned yourself from radiation, and therefore you will not take damage. So in order to avoid pumping out poison around you, you must have your take a breather on some sort of cooldown. From Ectopic Frog, Sigma forgets what...
I don't know how I feel about that change. I know it's unique, but... Yeah, I don't know how I entirely feel about that.
His ability cooldowns are, so you can't see its cooldown, and each of Sigma's cooldowns are at least 1 second less. In hindsight, I would have made it so you just cannot see your HUD, but what I did instead is when you shoot your rock or you do your suck, your ability will look like it's immediately back, but when you press the button, it doesn't work. That's because your ability cooldown is now hidden. And then at some random point, you'll be able to press it again. And what's funny about this is I've actually made it so the cooldown is between 6 and 9 seconds for both of them. So you won't even know exactly when it's going to come back, even if you have a timer. So this is a buff if you can predict when it's coming back, because you will have your rock and suck on a shorter cooldown, but you can't see when you're having it back. So I don't know if this is going to be good or bad. Stupid one. When Soldier sees a male character on his team, let him be able to kiss them to heal them. Now I didn't go through the effort of making it only male characters. Instead, he will kiss anyone. When you press interact next to someone, you and them will get stunned and you will heal them. This is because...
What? Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Wait, Emily, are you home? You playing? Yo, can I be your Reaper?
Because
I mean,
you
you're a
guys
soldier?
are
Can I be
making
your
out.
soldier?
Again, even though this is in the next video, but probably the video after that, I want to make it so I put heroes from one role, so like the DPS, into another role, like support. And soldier being a support by making out with people is probably what I'm going to do for him, because it's really funny. So W's suggestion to make soldier the kissing healer. Make Sombra wall run, I beg. Okay. It's not exactly like Lucio. You actually are able to control your movement a little bit better, but you can't like jump upwards or anything. It's just you slide across the wall. But I'm pretty sure no one's going to be expecting a Sombra on a wall randomly. This comment actually has make Hammond D-Mech like Diva. We'll get back to that later. But the one under it says make Symmetra a support. This one I was actually trying to do like the Skull Merchant from Dead by Daylight, where you put a bug on someone, then you can track them and it heals them. But I ended up simplifying it, and it's basically like a Zenyatta orb. When you press interact next to someone, you will put a healing bug on them, and this persists until you die or you change it to someone else. Not my greatest.
Shit, that means it's like it's like Overwatch 1 Symmetra. I mean, not Symmetra. Zen, so you can heal anyone all across the map, apparently.
Change ever, but maybe we can improve it in the
Emily,
future
it is.
by doing something a bit more special. And the turrets, before anyone suggests it, they are not capable of targeting your teammates without some dummy bot shenanigans. So I would have to do a custom healing turret, which I could do. But I mean, he already kind of has a turret, so I don't really want to do that for Symmetra. But I'll let you guys argue in the comments about that. For Sojourn, I added gambling. Except this gambling isn't like I did on Circuit Royale in the one map change video. Instead, when you kill someone, there is a 50-50 chance that they will resurrect and then kill you instantly. At the same time though, if you die to someone, they have a 50-50 chance of dying and you resurrecting. This is actually really funny because it technically could put an infinite death loop on you guys, because it keeps counting that you killed the enemy player. So it will keep gambling and it keep going back and forth and back and forth. So if you ever see someone dying and killing each other a bunch of times, they're gambling. Or Torbjorn, make it so when
I don't know if I want to go gambling, chat. If you guys watch my IRL video, it didn't go so well.
His turret gets a kill, he gains 25 armor. This is pretty self-explanatory. When your turret gets a kill, you will get armor, and this is recoverable. So you'll have a permanent health increase, and then when you die, it resets it. I won't lie, I can't remember if I made it so it removes it when you switch characters.
So wait, you can have a Torb that has like a 1,000 fucking health.
So it could be permanent. I should fix that. I'm not going to. For Tracer, I kind of already spoiled it. When you blink through someone, it will heal them. Now, before any of you try that, you have to shoot a projectile. Now, you might be questioning, hey, why can't I just blink and then have them heal him? Why do I have to shoot this mini projectile using interact and then hit the target? It will then heal them from 1 HP, and then it will detect, hey, you are doing the blink heal instead of a regular heal. Now you're gonna blink and blink through them. The reason that I did it this way is because it's so much easier to track who you're blinking through. So basically, in order to use the blink heal, you have to press interact, and then when you hit the target, it will heal them for 1 HP. When it detects that, you'll blink through them, and you'll heal them a bunch. Now, for most people, that might just be a little bit of gibberish, but basically, you have to shoot a projectile to heal them. This will just make the detection so much easier on healing them.
Okay,
now,
that sounds crazy. That sounds a little too complicated, chat.
You could also manipulate it and go in different directions, so you won't blink through them. But this is something a little bit newer to me, so I wasn't sure exactly how to do it. But Tracer basically is a support now, and have fun with it. For Venture, I actually have two. When Venture goes underground, they suffocate. The only issue with this is that you're actually invulnerable when you're underground, so I made it so it manipulates the max health. But the problem is that when you go and gain shields from your dash or your burrow, they will gain this over health and change their max health. So if I do the calculations, it actually messes up the calculation depending on how many shields they have. So in the end, I made it so you just lose a base amount of health because it was too difficult for me to figure it out, and you couldn't damage them because you're invulnerable underground. So the only way to do it is manipulate the max health to damage you when you get your max health back. Again, just workshop things. And then also give Venture a ranged secondary fire, which is really funny because if you button press secondary fire, it doesn't work. On Reaper, I'm pretty sure it works, but on Venture, it doesn't. Whatever. Basically, if you press interact, you'll shoot a projectile that will use all of their ammo, but it does like 90 damage and I think 180 on a headshot. So basically, you want to click this when you only have one ammo or you need a long range projectile. Imagine if Widow no longer one-shot people, but instead reveals them when they shoot them. When you do over 60 damage as Widowmaker, you will put an icon on the person that you shot. Now, most of the time this will only reveal one person, but sometimes it reveals two. I don't know why it decides it this way. It doesn't really matter. But when you shoot someone, it will reveal them. Now, like I said, I wanted to make it so it reveals multiple people when you shoot them. But for some reason, the workshop doesn't work, or my code doesn't work. Sometimes it does. I don't even know. Shoot them. I don't even care anymore. This was one of the last ones I did. You guys can tell that when I get to the end, my headset just turned off. When I get to the end of the workshop changes, I kind of try less, and I'm very sorry about that, but there is 41 changes. Widowmaker can shoot people and mark them. It's pretty cool. It's a net nerf, but it's still pretty cool. Make Winston's secondary fire throw bananas, and each time he says Winston. Unfortunately, I can't make him go Winton or Winston, so instead he just does a voice line. And when he secondary fires, he throws a green banana. This was one of the funniest changes. I like this one a lot. It's not as good as the monkey spin, but it's pretty close.
Bro,
I forgot to record Wrecking Ball's voiceover. It's the hamster. So basically what they wanted me to do was make it so when he dies, he gets demeched out of the hamster wheel he's in, and he gets to run around as a little hamster. He cannot get back into the mech without dying or going back to spawn.
Okay.
So basically, I added a demech.
Who the hell's talking? Is that in the video?
To Wrecking Ball, and the only way to get your mech back is by dying or going to spawn.
Wait, what do you mean?
Tell people in the video what the change is.
What the changes?
For Zarya, when she punches, send out a projectile like Orissa's Halt. This comment was from the melee punching video, so I'm not surprised there was a melee change suggestion for Zarya, but I didn't have very many Zarya ones, so I just added it. When you punch as Zarya, you will have to reload, but you will send out an orb that impulses people to it within a radius of the orb. It's pretty slow, pretty hard to hit, not very useful. But hey, I did it! And finally, for Zenyatta, make it so Zenyatta's healing orbs make people float. At least, that's what I would be saying if I didn't make all of Zenyatta's healing makes people float. When you're healing in Transcendence, you'll also make people float. And I hope you guys all enjoyed watching me go down a spiraling path of insanity. Your guys' comments are very hard to balance. Some of them are impossible to add. Some of them are just freaking gambling. And some are actually pretty good. I don't even...
Okay, chat. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. So let's try it. Let's try it. Okay, friends. YouTube thinks you might like this next video, so let me know if they're right.